What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy 8bit79, and I want to say a huge thank you to everybody that came out and supported the last video.
Thank you very much.
Where we ranked 95 of the best free-to-play uniforms in the game. And considering the turnout that we got on that video, we figured, hey, let's do another one with 70 of the best pay-to-play uniform tier list. So let's go ahead and jump right in it, shall we? So in this one, we're going to be ranking all 70 uniforms, including the seasonal uniforms. The criteria are going to be the same: Frosty DPS, lead/support, superfan, and just a big El Paso down there at the bottom on note. And then in order for the characters to make it onto the list, you either have to acquire them through an X-Gene or Biosub, or they have a hard paywall uniform. Seasonal uniforms are included.
You need to keep both eyes open.
Alpha level confirmed. Encryption code accepted. Safeguards removed.
So of course, starting this thing off with Adam Warlock, we have to slot him in right in the Frosty DPS category. He can do PvE, he can do PvP with a PvE build. Most people have him built with a CTP of energy. And on top of that, if you get this guy's artifact, he gets the Wolverine heal. He does have the revive passive. He also has a nasty second skill that counterattacks and gives iframe ignore to all the rest of his skills that he can cast every 5.5 seconds. And then on top of that, he gets a chain hit damage increase on the uniform passive, as well as additional pierce increase by 5% with guard break immunity as part of the uniform passive. With my girl Arrow here, I'm gonna have to say that's a hard pass. Even though she can go to Transcendent, the only thing that her uniform gave her was a heal and some damage reduction. It did give her a stat bump and all of this sort of thing, but considering that she's trapped at Transcendent, I would wait and see if she got a tier 4 or anything like that. She doesn't have any lead or support value whatsoever. Moving right along to my guy Agent Venom. He has an amazing support for all symbiote types, considering Carnage and Silver Surfer are at the top of the game, or near the top of the game in one case and at the top in the other. As far as the PvP roster is concerned, I would definitely have to throw him up there with my guy Angel. Angel actually got some Frosty DPS in his seasonal Fallen Angel uniform. So we definitely got to put this guy at the top, that tier 4 now. And also with this uniform, the amount of DPS that he's able to crank out is absolutely bonkers.
He rises!
So we did an actual standalone video for this guy. It's over on the channel. Go check it out if you want to know more. We tried to get that out before the uniform went off sale. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait until next year, that thing up, when it comes back on sale again. Now with Arachnite, while this uniform did increase his survivability by moving his heal from the passive to the active skill and then reworking his passives a little bit, and also giving him things like chain hit, does make him better. The DPS really just didn't go far enough. My guy Baron Zemo, he's trapped at tier 2. He does have some leadership ability in this uniform though, but it's a really niche lead. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to slap him in the superfans category. My guy Black Bolt, the DPS on this uniform is well documented, so we gotta slot him in at the front of Frosty DPS. My girl Black Cat, she is a good lead and support for speed types, although she is trapped at tier 2, so that's kind of what holds this uniform back. It is meta for ABX, ABL, but that's about it. For my girl Blue Dragon, she does have some leadership quality in this uniform for the Warriors of the Sky, but they're not necessarily meta at the moment. She does have really good DPS in this uniform though, so I'm gonna have to throw her on the Frosty DPS side as well as being able to go to tier 4. Same thing with my guy Carnage here, able to go to tier 4. Yes, he's not at the top of the meta anymore, but he's definitely not at the bottom, and under certain ban conditions, you can get a lot of work done with this guy. Of course, Jean Grey,
otherwise known as the beast.
Right up there with Adam Warlock in PvP, but then also can do the PvP side of the content with the CTP of Rage. For my girl Crescent, I would say only if you're a super fan. This uniform does offer a very niche lead, but it's only for combat types. And I kind of see her getting a uniform in the near future, so maybe we even put this thing in a hard skip, but we'll leave it right there for now. Deadpool, I gotta say a hard skip. I didn't even pick this uniform up. He's only a lead for Gwenpool in this uniform. Her DPS is decent. I would say go ahead and pick her up if you're a super fan of her. But outside of that, and you want a decent uniform to play her in, this is about the only one. For my guy Dormammu, I would say go ahead and wait until the Doctor Strange movie comes out. For Doctor Doom, he's kind of in a tricky position, because you can still get a lot of stuff done with him at tier 3 in PvP and PvE. I would say if you're a super fan, go ahead and pick this thing up. Otherwise, I would highly suggest folks wait until the God King Doom uniform comes out. And actually, in the community event that they held last December and dropped the results last January of which hero are you hoping for in the new update that they mentioned in the developmental letter that they just dropped a couple of days ago, Dr. Doom came in 8th place. The reason why this is important, the devs specifically say the next May update will target heroes from the Hero Update poll event held last December. Future updates will also be made based on the results of the Hero Updating event, so please stay tuned. So basically, anybody on this list that has a uniform, I would go ahead and pass on. So that's going to include Crescent, that may include Incredible Hulk. We're not sure about that yet, so take that into account when watching the previous video. And then of course that Dr. Doom uniform, as well as Mr. Fantastic's Maker uniform, which I don't think I ranked very high, and I think I actually suggested a pass on. The other one that you kind of want to watch out for is War Machine. So they're probably going to be doing an Armor Wars update sooner rather than later. So that being said, we're definitely going to have to bring Doom down in the hard pass category, as well as Crescent. Echo, this uniform is a definite pass as well because she just got a brand new one. Electro does function as a lead and support for the Sinister Six, so we're gonna have to slot him in there. Emma Frost was also part of that list, so I'd have to say pass on the Hellfire Gala uniform. This uniform is actually pretty new for Enchantress and makes her a decent support, giving additional energy attack and damage to boss types. My guy Nick Fury, one of the best support types in the game for heroes. Of course, Gambit, I'm gonna have to also give a hard pass to because they're probably gonna do something for him with X-Men 97. My guy Ghost Rider,
Doing the thing here like nobody ever does before. Yeah.
tier 4, amazing DPS, amazing for PvP. If you have his artifact, or PvE, and if you have his artifact that gives him the undead passive, you can actually take him into some PvP content and get kills there as well. For Ghost,
What? What do you mean?
The Muir Woods, second fire road off the Panoramic Highway.
Yaga, come at night, little children sleepy tight.
she does have the leadership for technokinetics, but it's very niche. I'm gonna have to say pass on it until they decide to give that girl a tier 3 or an awakened skill. Gilgamesh, this is probably gonna be the only way to play him for a while. I don't see the Eternals getting anything anytime soon, so I would say only if you're a super fan, go ahead and pick this thing up, but it really doesn't have a place in the meta. As far as my guy Gladiator here, I'm kind of confused on. He does have the leadership that's gonna play a part in the future as far as tier 4 content is concerned and this sort of thing. He is meta for a couple of days in Alliance battle, but his DPS isn't as good as it should be. However, if you're gonna play him, this is kind of the only way to play him. So all that being said, I'm probably gonna have to slot that into the super fans category, unfortunately. probably at the front, but still. Iceman is going in there as well. Probably the only way to play him. I'm not sure if he's gonna get anything with X-Men 97. I haven't seen him in there so far, so we're gonna have to wait and see on that. My guy Hyperion, even though that's the only way to play him, I'm gonna have to say a hard pass with that, as well as for the Fantastic Four, because any member of the Fantastic Four that is on that list, they're probably going to do an entire update with those guys, or they're not going to be very far apart, right? My girl Riri, amazing support for blast types. Yes, it's niche, but a lot of blast types in the game are amazing DPS, so I gotta slot her in there. Juggernaut, I'm gonna say only if you're a super fan, pick this thing up. It does make him decent. Killmonger, this uniform is kind of tricky, but it's kind of a one-time thing. If you mythic this uniform and you purchase the legendary battle, you can get a free CTP from this uniform. However, if that's the only reason to pick it up, I'm gonna have to say don't do it. Kingpin, this is gonna be contingent on whether or not he gets something with this Echo update or not, but we're gonna go ahead and slot this into the super fan category because this uniform does make him viable. I'm gonna go ahead and slide that guy down there because he's only able to go to tier 2. Amazing DPS with Luna, meta all over the place for Alliance Battle Legend and Alliance Battle Extreme. I'm gonna have to say only if you're a super fan should you pick this uniform up from Magic. It's the only way to play her, and then you do still need her artifact. My guy Magneto also at the top of the meta, amazing DPS in this uniform. The Spider-Man 2099 uniform, I almost want to give a hard pass to. Yeah, we're gonna have to. He's probably gonna be a lot higher up, you know, if you wanna rank him in any kind of order. He does have great DPS in this uniform. She really does, even still at Transcended, and she can get a lot of stuff done for you. I kind of want to throw her in the Frosty DPS, but she's just not in the meta anymore. She's so far out of it that, yeah, I gotta kind of slide her in down there in the super fans category. Definitely deserves to be higher, probably right there behind Gladiator. Amazing lead and support for More Than LaFaze, seasonal for universal type allies, so we'll probably have to slide her in somewhere in behind or maybe even ahead of Black Cat because she is able to go Transcended there. My guy Sinister, I'm gonna have to say once again, gotta slide him into the super fans category. Only if you're a super fan should you be picking up that Hellfire Gala uniform. For my guy Mysterio, he is amazing lead slat or a support type in this uniform, gives damage to boss types and I believe energy attack for all supervillain allies, so that covers a lot of content in the game. I personally run it myself a lot with Magneto. Same thing with
Who in the blue hell are you?
my girl Mystique, one of the best supports in the game. Namor definitely deserves to be up here as a Frosty DPS tier 4 in that uniform. DPS is ridiculous. Sentinel, we're gonna have to give a hard pass. Probably gonna get something with X-Men 97. Odin, I would say, yeah, go ahead and pick this uniform up if you plan on building him. He is an amazing DPS, probably somewhere up here with Black Bolt, somewhere around there, I don't know. With my guy Coulson, we already know what he is in this uniform, what he's always been. Really good support. Professor X, you know, I'm gonna have to say pass on this just for the simple fact of X-Men 97. I'm gonna have to say hard pass. And he's probably going to be the only tier 4 that I'm going to have down here. But yeah, same thing with Betsy, and same thing with a lot of the other mutants on this list. If you do have this uniform with Rogue, then you already know that she's an amazing DPS in that uniform. Quasar, I'm gonna have to say only if you're a super fan. The DPS is good. It's probably the only way to play this girl if you so choose to. Quicksilver, definitely a hard pass at this point. The DPS is really good. He does go PvP in this uniform as well with the iframe ignore. However, I would be looking for something for him as well if he pops and rears his head in X-Men 97. This one, I'm gonna have to slide it into the super fan category. You can pull some cheese type stuff with it for Rachel, but yeah. Outside of that, I would say this thing is a hard pass, considering most folks are going to have to spend the 4,500 crystals to get her. The uniform just isn't worth it. Like, the steak isn't worth the sizzle. So yeah, we'll definitely slot her in down there in the hard pass category. Rescue does offer some support value in this uniform. Maybe an Alliance Conquest sort of team that's built around technokinetics. So we gotta throw her in there as well. For my guy Sabretooth, he's gonna be a hard skip. This one for Satana is really good leadership. She does have that lead outside of the uniform, so there is that. So I'm kind of on some with that uniform. And then with my girl Kitty, she also gets a good leadership bump in this uniform. I think it's like 10 or 15% to her lead, but then again, that lead is only for mutants, so I would have to say only if you're a super fan, go ahead and pick that up. Silk with her seasonal uniform at this point, it's going to be a hard pass. Sin has a decent lead slash support because she gets 55% damage to boss types, and she gets like a 30% physical lead or something like that. Spectrum, the DPS just didn't go far enough in this uniform, so we're going to have to give it a hard pass. My girl Jessica Drew does become a really good lead for spiders in this uniform. Considering Miles has his own lead and then he can switch uniforms and become a lead for Spider-Man, the only person that she would be buffing with this uniform would be Spider-Gwen until Silk gets something. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to slot her in down here in the Super Fans category. Super Friend. With my girl Storm, kinda hurts me to say it, I'm gonna have to give her a hard pass at this point. If you have her, she's an amazing DPS, but I would wait for the X-Men 97 before I did anything as far as that uniform is concerned. On the other hand, my guy Strife here, not only is he an amazing DPS at tier 3 in timeline battle, in otherworld battle, things of this nature, especially when certain ban conditions are met.
They switch the flip and you're done.
He also has the debuff lead for supervillains, so now you don't necessarily have to run Wasp, and he's a better much better DPS than she is. But we'll go ahead and slot him in because he is solidly in that support category. Of course, we know the support that this guy offers for the Warriors of the Sky, but you don't need this uniform to get it. So definitely got to slot this guy down here in as Super Fans category, and I don't think the uniform does much for him in terms of his DPS. On the other hand, my guy Thane here is an amazing DPS at tier 3, much better than expected. You know, we're probably gonna have to throw Angel a little bit higher. We definitely got to move Jean up the list a little bit. Definitely got to move Adam up the list a little bit. Athena, at this point, I'm gonna have to say hard pass. Crystal cost is just exorbitant. And you know what? We'll go ahead and throw Gilgamesh down here as well. He doesn't deserve to be up there. As far as my girl Valkyrie, we all know the support value that she brings to the game with the ignore dodge and the damage to supervillains and damage to superheroes. Really good stuff. Wave, same thing, except she offers a leadership with it as well. So there's that. And then of course we got my girl White Fox. She's probably gonna be close to the top. Maybe, you know, her and Nick Fury are like 1 and 2 sort of thing. Probably should have Valkyrie and Wave and some of these other guys a lot higher. As far as my guy Wen Wu here, uniform just didn't go far enough. I would say if you're a super fan, pick this up, but outside of that, he's not really gonna do much for you. And then Yelena Belova used to be really good in PvP content, but the time is pretty much gone for her. So I would have to say that is a hard pass as well. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Tried to get this thing pretty decently accurate. So we'll shuffle around the support category a little bit and bring Nick Fury and Phil Coulson and Wave, Shuri, and White Fox down in value a little bit, because while their supports are really strong, the simple fact is there are a lot of female hero supports in the game. There are are not a lot of male supports, hero or villain, and there are not a lot of female villain supports.
And the Son has done been imparted with the knowledge of the Father.
So we'll probably bring Morgan up a little bit as well, because that damage to universal types is really, really strong. And Morgan, Shuri, White Fox, my guy Mysterio here, Sin constitute a majority of the support types that are needed to compete at a high level in game modes like Alliance, Battle, Legend, and Extreme. And these characters can also translate into World Boss and GBR. So
You want to know about the game? You better ask somebody.
y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, share, sub. This is basically how the list shakes out, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.